Hi everyone, we're back. I'm Irma Elias. I think you guys know my name by now. I'm in my kitchen, so forgive the echo. It's kind of a big kitchen. I'm gonna do something different today. I am gonna show you how to make chicken soup. I did tell you during my intro video that I would talk about many things that will help you to reverse the aging process, to look younger and to feel younger. One of the important facets that I'm going to explore is good eating habits. We need to eat well, eat healthy, so that we can nourish our bodies. Also, exercise, I've talked about at length, to build strong muscle and strong bone and help with the collagen in our skin. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my heritage first. My mother was a German and Scotch-Irish, and she learned Spanish. She met my father, who was a Spaniard. He was Catalonian. So I can't tell you the origins of the soup I'm about to make, because this is going to be the easiest soup you guys could ever prepare. I think maybe preparation time is going to take 15 minutes. But I've subbed the big beef bone that my mom would cook it with. I've subbed that with chicken. So it's a healthier chicken soup, but really it's a stew. In Spanish, you call it Cosetho. So it's usually made with beef, like a big beef bone. I've changed it up for years. I changed it, well, you guys know me. I changed it in my early 20s because I knew that chicken would be healthier for me and my family. So I'm going to talk about some of the benefits of eating chicken soup. We all know that it's full of flavor and it's full of color and full of nutrients. These are things that we all know, but it's also very helpful when you're not feeling so well, when you have a cold or flu. Here are some of the medicinal qualities of chicken soup. So first of all, it is antimicrobial. Chicken soup comes from a phytonutrient-rich vegetables cooked into the broth. So you have to remember that phytonutrients are those chemical messengers in plants that communicate directly with our immune system. You want to eat a lot of vegetables in your diet. Soup is the perfect thing as long as we don't salt it too much, to get all those vegetables that we need into our system. Next, it is anti-inflammatory. So I bet you guys have always wondered, everyone talks about chicken soup being anti-inflammatory. It's the chicken broth that has an amino acid called carnosine that helps reduce those inflammatory compounds that cause our runny nose, our tearing eyes, the cough and the sneezing, that we get when we get a secondary respiratory infection. So what is great about the chicken soup is that it's a compound of many different compounds, and a lot of it comes from the chicken broth or the chicken. So we've got three different things: the vegetables, the broth, and the chicken. So the next thing that it has is something called mucolytic, excuse me. Chicken is also rich in amino acids called cysteine. It thins the mucus and helps the cilia, those tiny little hair-like projections in our trachea, in our bronchi, and in our lungs. This cysteine helps those little hair-like follicles move the mucus up and out of our lungs as we cough or we sneeze or when we blow our nose or we cry. So we all know that a chicken soup is hydrating. It's going to give us the fluids and the nutrients we need for mucus drainage. So when you're eating it, do you notice your nose running? All soups do this. I recommend all soups. Any kind of soup you can make at home, do it, because they don't take a lot of prep time. You do have to watch them, so you have to set a timer, not be pretty religious about setting a timer so you don't burn the soup. If you have a cold or a flu, this hydration that we get to help with the mucus expulsion is going to help you to get rid of a cold or a flu. But I want to comment on just how yummy soup is. Soup has got to be one of the yummiest things you can eat, and it's filling, and it will hold you over for hours, and it's made mostly of water. So you get this full filling, and you also get a lot of fiber, and that helps you to not think about eating. You can sit there and have a bowl of soup or two, and you're not going to be thinking about eating all day long. So anyway, let's get started. I'm going to go step by step and show you how to make Cosetho or chicken soup. Okay, let's go. Okay, so now I have all these wonderful vegetables that we're going to use in our soup, chicken soup, and I'm going to proceed to cut them all into tiny pieces and put them in one at a time. I've already put 4 or 5 cans of chicken broth. You can use low sodium, and then I added 2 cans of water. Just use the same cans and measure the water out, put it in there, and as you can see, the broth is now getting hot. The first thing you're going to do is put whole peppercorn. This is going to be a funny recipe because I'm not going to give you exact amounts. What I do with the peppercorn is I put it in my hand, like so, and then I drop it in. It should be a substantial amount. You want it to taste really, really good. So here I go. I'm going to take it over here to my pot, and I'm going to drop it in. Okay, and we keep all of this on a slow simmer. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is start chopping. I'm going to start with the onion first. So I get a nice big onion, a yellow onion, and I start to chop. You're going to take the ends off first. Then you're going to take all the skin off. You want all this stuff off. You don't have to take, my daughters always ask me if I should take several layers off. You don't have to do that. You just have to take this top layer off. I'm sure you all cut an onion. I don't want to be redundant here. You take this all off, set it aside. And I do big chunks of everything in my stew. So this, I still have a little bit of, see this little bit of skin? You want to get rid of that, because that doesn't chew well, that doesn't swallow well. Now I've got to keep my eyes away from the onions so I don't just start to cry for you guys. But first cut it up into 4s. Then I'm going to cut again. Just put that to the side. Cut it up into 4s. Cut it up into 8s. Put it to the side. Cut it up into 4s. Again into 8s. Ooh, I'm starting to tear. There you go. All done. So I'm going to put this into the pot. So next I'm going to cut the potatoes into cubes. I'm going to cube the potatoes. So you go down the middle, lay them flat. 1, 2, and then you cube them. I'll do one more for you. Take this little one, down the middle. Before I cut my potato, the skin is very important. You want to keep the skin on your potato because that's where most of the nutrients are. But before I cut them, I rinse them off. Now, A lot of people scrub their potatoes to get all the dirt off. I rinse them scrubbing with my hands. I don't use a scrub brush because what you end up doing when you're scrubbing with a scrub brush is you end up taking part of the skin off. So best thing to do is just get it, rinse it with your hands. You might get a little bit of dirt, but all of this comes from soil and it's all comes from dirt. So don't be afraid of that. I'm gonna do one more here and then we're gonna move to another veggie. Okay, so I've cut all my potatoes into cubes. I'm going to take them over to our soup broth. You want to kind of do the potatoes and the onions first because they take the longest to cook. And you want, what the potato does is it adds the consistency to your soup. It makes it thicker and more dense. Okay, there you go. Now I'm going to put this inside my pot, just like that. And then I'm going to continue cutting. The next thing I'm going to do is my carrots. So you're going to want 4 or 5 carrots. I like to kind of cut my carrots in bunches. I take the ends off. And you're going to want to cut your carrots. Let me demonstrate this. Go down and fold it like this. You're going to want to cut them at a slight angle. You want big chunks, but you want a slight angle. Now, every part of the carrot is good. Everyone always throws parts of carrots away. Don't do that. Keep it all, except for maybe these tips. You can even keep these, but people don't like looking at this, so throw that out. I'm going to do one more carrot. There we go. I'm going to put this with my one little piece of potato into the pot. See, these are the vegetables that take a little longer to cook. The ones that are going to cook quickly, you're going to put in less. So here we go. I'm going to overwrite my pot and we put these out. Nice carrots. Okay. Next, I'm going to do celery. Now, every part of the celery is good for you. Again, you're going to want big chunks because it tastes better. With Cosetho, the vegetables are cut very, very big. Okay. I'll put those to the side. I've got 2 more here. So I think you're probably going to want to put not a full stalk of celery. You're probably going to want to put about 3/4 of a stalk of celery. You don't want too much celery because it may overwhelm the flavor. And celery is just supplemental. It is not where all your flavor is coming from. Most of your flavor comes from the carrots and the cabbage. Okay. There we go. So now we're going to cut the cabbage. So I'm showing here a whole cabbage, but normally I don't use a whole cabbage because it won't fit in the pot with the chicken. So oddly enough, I kind of let the soup do its own thing. I'm not cutting the cabbage into tiny little pieces like a lot of people do. I'm cutting it into fourths, the 1/2 into fourths, like that. And then I use just a little bit of more cabbage. I'm not going to use the whole cabbage because, like I said, it won't fit with the chicken. So about that much is what I'm going to use. I'm going to put this in. Drop it in here. There you go. See that? So that takes up plenty of space. So the next thing I'm going to cut is going to be my corn. So I have a family of 5, but you put as much corn as you think the kids will eat. So what I always do is just cut the corn in half like that. That way it just seems like there's more corn than there really is. Oops, here we go. Sometimes it goes easy, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. So I take the corn and I plop it in. So the pot is going to get really, really full. The pot, it sometimes boils over. Oh, there you go. Just put all that in there. Okay. And the next thing I'm going to do, these are all my vegetables. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get a full chicken and shove it into the bottom of this. I'm going to kind of scoop it in there. So I'm going to wash off my chicken and then we'll film when I put the chicken in, okay? So the last thing we're going to use in our soup is going to be salt. Now, you all have to be cautious with salt. You don't want to use too much salt. When the soup or the stew cooks, you know, an hour of cooking to an hour and a half, the salt will dissolve, and so you can't over salt it initially. But since it is such a big pot of soup, you're going to want to put quite a bit. So I'm going to sprinkle it here on top. Now, you're going to set a timer for about every half hour. The stew or soup, the Cosetho, takes about an hour to an hour and a half to cook. Sometimes you can go a little longer, but the longer you cook it, the more you cook the nutrients out of the vegetables and into the soup, the soggier it'll get. This is the kind of soup that you kind of want to keep the vegetables a little bit firm, not real firm. Okay. Another thing I want to mention is that if you don't have cabbage, what works really great is broccoli. You can put maybe a cup or 2 of broccoli in here, and it makes the soup taste just as delicious, if not more. It's just a good variation to use broccoli. Anyway, I'm going to sprinkle the salt like I just did, and then later when it's cooked maybe an hour, you're going to taste the broth. And if it needs more salt, you're going to add salt. So I'm going to recommend 2 tablespoons of salt maximum. If you can cut it down to 1 tablespoon of salt, you're going to be doing good. So we're going to come back when the stew is done in about an hour and a half, and I'll show you what it looks like in the pot. Okay? Okay, so I just want to add one optional thing that you might consider doing to garnish the soup. Here we have cut up cilantro, and we have cut up lemon wedges, and then we have an avocado. I recommend 1 avocado per every 4 people. Cut the avocado up into wedges as well. And you can put this on top of your soup as a garnish. You can put lemon in it. Another thing that's really good is salsa. You can buy a salsa in the store or make homemade salsa. Put that in your soup. It'll taste great. So now we just have to wait. Okay, it's about an hour and a half later. Looks like the soup might take a little bit longer, but I'm going to show you the end result. Come this way. So this is my version of Cosetho. As you can see, there's a big chicken there. It's been boiling for a good hour and a half. When you're done, you're going to pierce it with your spoon. You're going to cut pieces of the chicken out and serve parts of every vegetable that you've put in here, including the potato and the broth. The broth is the most important part because it contains all the minerals and all the nutrients of the soup. You can let it go for 2 hours. Depending on where you live, When I'm in Tahoe, everything takes longer. Sometimes it takes 3.5 hours when I'm in higher elevation. So it depends on where you live. But here's my soup. Over here is my garnishes. And we're going to enjoy a very big bowl of soup, a glass of vino, and a wonderful evening. So that's my hope for you, is that all of you enjoy a wonderful evening and that you've learned that soup should be something that you make every week or every day. It is a fantastic filler, a good nutrient, and a good healing substance that you need to put into your body so that you get nothing but good things out. Anyway, that's it for today, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, smash the like button, and hopefully you all join my channel, and I can teach you every day something new. All right, thanks a lot for joining me, and you have a great day.